Well, this week is going to be a little bit of a short video. Haven't had time to put together my midweek video that I was typically doing because I have a visitor. My mother is visiting this week, and so, spending a little quality time with Mom. So we're going to cover, so for this week, we're going to cover some more audio gear in the movies. So I've got four, I think, movies to cover, and then put your comments in the bottom if you've seen these movies or have, some thoughts about them. At the end of the video, we're going to do some viewer systems. We haven't done that in a little while, so it's time to catch up. And I think I've got 3 or 4 of those to show you, so stick around to the end. Well, this is the movie from National Lampoon. It's from the Vacation series, but this is Christmas Vacation, which came out in 1989. Has Chevy Chase, of course. And this scene is the one where he's climbing on the roof and installing Christmas lights, slips, and then as a result of this activity, a shard of ice goes flying into the neighbor's house and smashes directly into a piece of their B&O gear. Now, this was the cool era. B&O had a cool era from like the 70s all the way through the 90s, I believe. But this is latter part of the 80s, I guess. The B&O units look all fairly similar, but I'm sure it's a turntable, a cassette deck, CD player, and the BO Center, I think they're called, the receiver. But all cool. They seem to be owned by, what we used to call yuppies back in the 80s. And unfortunately, a piece of B&O gear had to give up its life for the movie. But this is interesting stuff. I'm sure there are speakers in the clip or in the room somewhere, but I couldn't see them in the clip I could find. But this era of B&O gear is quite cool. I personally I've owned some over the years, some similar to this. The problem I always have with them is that they sort of don't play well with others in a way, and so I tend to have sold them off and moved them on. Just for that reason, they're just sort of cool, but sort of like to be cool all by themselves. So, but this is anyway cool clip from Christmas Vacation and the B&O gear. So this is the 2021 film Nobody, and this features Bob Odenkirk. And I've been a fan of Bob's since I first saw him in Breaking Bad. And then after that, he did the whole Call Saul series, which was fantastic. So I very much enjoy his characters, and this one was no exception. It's a bit of an action film, although you don't expect that, and some twists and turns to it. But Bob puts on a great show and really, fills out his character. But unfortunately, we had to see his stereo go up in flames. And it looks like he had a cool stereo, mostly records. He had this very cool record collection for the character. And there's a cool turntable that he interestingly uses to ignite a fire, but I couldn't make out what the turntable was. So if anybody can identify that based on the angle that you can see, point that out in the comments. That'd be great to capture that. The receiver appears to be a Rotel RX 803, I believe, and kind of it's a pretty distinctive looking unit, and it looks like a very cool vintage receiver. Couldn't see any of the speakers that are in the room that are clearly there, but that was pretty interesting. But if you haven't seen the movie, it's one worth watching. Again, 2021 Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. This is a movie with George Clooney as the main character. It's a legal drama. Clooney's character seems to be a fixer of some sort, and he's helping out Tom Wilkinson. I saw the movie, and it came out in 2007, so it's been quite a while. Can't quite remember the details of it, but it did spur enough of interest that I kind of want to go back and watch it again because it looks like it was a very, very good movie. Well, in the scene, there's a scene where Tom Wilkinson's character is at home and he's going to turn on some music, and then he's turning it on, and it looks to be a stack of Pioneer Elite gear. So this movie was 2007. Not sure when the time frame was set for the characters, but the gear looked to me more like 1990s models. But Could be wrong at that because it was a very quick scene and it's kind of a dark room and it's a bit blurry. But it didn't appear to be surround sound receivers or gear. But keep a lookout for that. A lot of other good characters in here. I think, what's that? Tilda Sweeney, I believe. And after seeing the clips again, I think I'm going to have to go seek it out and watch it again. It just looks like it was such a very good movie. Well, next up is a movie called Nashville from 1975. And I didn't recall this movie at all. I was about 11 at that time frame. And from what I read about it and what I could see from the clips, probably not a movie to go seek out, really. But what is in there that you should seek out is a song that was sung in the movie by Keith Carradine. Now, Keith Carradine was the half-brother of David Carradine of Kill Bill and Kung Fu fame. And he's got a quite a good voice, and it's very reminiscent to me of the 70s. A bit reminds me of, I think, Jonathan Edwards a bit, and other singers of the day. But that's probably the best scene in the whole movie is where he's playing that. He's got a stereo in the movie. There's a scene where he is living in a hotel, it seems, a hotel room, and they're panning across the room, and he's got it set up on sort of the dresser up there. And what I can tell, it looks like a JBL, set of JBL 4312 monitors. And in the middle between the two is a TIAC A3300, I believe, is what it appears to be. There's a turntable there. I could not determine what that was. It didn't appear to be a high-end turntable. And I read somewhere that there's a Marantz receiver in there. It's somewhere in the room. Of course, they needed some power, but I didn't see it, at least in the clips that I could find. But it's a nice scene, and I did recall a bit hearing that song. I'm pretty sure it was released, but it did sound familiar to me. But now I do want to go find the song. I'm not interested in the movie, but the song sort of, sounds like something I'd like to hear multiple times and hear it again. Not sure where I would find it, if I could find it on CD or if I could find an album of it, a record. I'm not sure, but anyway, I think it's worth looking up and taking a listen. And that's Nashville from 1975. Well, there you have it for the movies. Some quite interesting ones. I think I'd like to have that Keith Carradine system. That was pretty cool with the JBL and the TIAC, and if there's a Marantz receiver in there, I think that'd be the system to go with. I am partial to the Pioneer Elite system, but for a little nostalgia, I think I'd probably go a little bit earlier and take that earlier system. But anyway, let me know which one you guys like the best. So that's it for the movies, but stick around. Coming up are some viewer systems. So thanks to Kevin F. for sending in his system information. Kevin is from New Hampshire, and he very much enjoys vintage hi-fi. He wanted to share his system with us. He's got a Sansui 7070. That's a great unit. On the speaker side, he's got some Boston Acoustics A150 Series 3, and he's got those paired up with a couple of JBL PSW 1000 subs. Bet those things rock the house. He's got another set of speakers, some Advent Legacies. For turntable, he's got a Technics SL 1700 MK1. On the CD side, he's got a Yamaha CDC 685 5-disc changer. For cassette play, he's using a Yamaha K903 dual auto reverse. He even has a reverb in the mix, a Sansui RA500. Those look pretty cool. And for a preamp, he's using a Bluetooth unit from AIMA, a T2 tube preamp. And that preamp has two outputs on it, and he can go to both receivers with a CD player on the preamp RCA inputs. So kind of a cool configuration. He also has a Pioneer SX535 and a couple more sets of smaller bookshelf speakers, some Boston Acoustics A60s and some A40s. So kind of appreciating the Boston Acoustics there in Kevin's place. Thanks so much, Kevin, for sharing your system. Next up is Armand L. Armand has a wall of sound. He's got some Sansui, some Pioneer, and some Marantz. Got quite the collection here. He also has most of the receivers looks like connected through a splitter booster. That allows him to actually play all the receivers at once. That would be interesting. So on the receiver side, he's got a Pioneer 838, a Sensui 8080 DB, a Marantz 2275, and a Kenwood 9400. Some great receivers there. For speakers, he's got some Klipsch Heresy, a set of JBL L100s, some Sensui 2700A, a set of Pioneer HPM 100s, and some Bose Acoustimass. You got quite the selection here and good variety. You can flip those speakers around and sort of play what you're in the mood for. As well, he's got a Pioneer 9191 and a Marantz 5020. And he lists a Sensui here, but not a model number, so I'm not sure which one that is. But thanks so much, Armand, for sending in this information on your system. So we have a system here from Rudy T. Now, Rudy, he grew up in music. His father played violin in a quartet and always had music in the house. When Rudy was little, his father had a Pioneer SX650, a Pioneer 2121 cassette deck, and a Garrard turntable. And he was always playing music. He was just, immersed in it. As Rudy got older, he kept appreciating music, and he even got into DJing for a while in the popular clubs in the Chicago area. He was spinning some records on a Technics 1200 turntable. Currently, he's got in his system, he's always got lots of different recording media because he still actually makes recorded mixes for folks and family and friends and customers. So he's got quite the variety here. He's got vintage gear though. He's got a Pioneer SX950. It's been partially restored by Stereo Rehab. He's got a TIAC X10R reel-to-reel and a Pioneer RT707 reel-to-reel. For cassette tapes, he's got a Pioneer CTF700. He's got these connected into a DBX 3BX 3-band dynamic range expander, which he very much likes. He also has an EQ from Sound Shaper, an AS4127. For CD burning, a Tascam CD-RW900SL. He's got a Newmark tone calibration mixer, a Panasonic SV3800 DAT recorder, USB burner, and finally, to spin in those discs now, he's using a Denon DP52F. I had one of those years ago. Those Denons are built like tanks as well. On the speaker side of things, he's got 4 Acoustic Research AR12s. And he likes to set those up in a 4-way configuration sometimes and put on something like a Pink Floyd and get that heavy, very dimensional sound and just get into the zone. And that's it from Rudy. Thanks so much, Rudy, for sending this detail in. We certainly appreciate it.